Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Creator News Live. So excited to be here. One of my favorite people in the whole world is on the show again today. She's been on, man, when we first started, you were on like every other week, but now it's been a while. So it's fun to have Katie Brinkley back on the show, and the unsinkable Connor Brown, who just got off a ship. So you guys need to go, if you're interested in cruising at all or vacation or whatever, you need to go to Vacation Kingdoms on Instagram. We're getting ready to get on the Destiny, which he was just on, Disney's newest ship, and he walked you through the entire thing. So you guys need to go check that out. I sent it to my daughter because she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing!" So she was all geeking out about all the new stuff on the ship. But Connor Brown, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm great. Unsinkable is an appropriate term right there because
Right.
I didn't sink the ship. I didn't
Good.
sink the brand new ship, which was great. It was an awesome time. But I'm excited to be here with you fine people.
Was it 5 days? What was that? What it was?
It was 3 days.
Okay.
There was like a day before kind of stuff going on, a christening ceremony, so much cool stuff. So yeah, at Vacation Kingdoms on Instagram or TikTok, I got a whole bunch of stuff over on there and more to come for sure.
Yeah. So you may not know this about Connor, but he is a super Disney influencer now, where he gets to do this cool stuff. So you want to follow him wherever he's at because he's got some cool stuff going on. But another person you want to follow is the amazing Katie Brinkley, who is here. Katie, how is Colorado? It got hot in Texas. It's like 80, going to be 80 today. Is it warm?
It's going to be 76 today here.
It's bonkers.
So, I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm ready for winter. I'm sitting wearing my t-shirt still, and I'm ready for winter to kind of roll around. But
see, I know you love your snow in Colorado. I grew up in Kansas. I do not miss it at all. So
because there's nothing to do in the snow there.
No, we go to Colorado because we drive to Colorado. It's really easy. So I remember driving through western, because we were in eastern part of Kansas, and we drive all the way through western Kansas, which is boring. And then you get to eastern Colorado, which is still pretty boring. And then you'd see the mountains, and then you're like, oh, it's still another 4 hours away. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's my story.
My sister-in-law lives out in eastern Colorado, and you can't see the mountains out there. And I'm like, man, what? It's so weird. Like, why live out here?
Yeah,
there's nothing to do.
my wife's family lives in western Kansas, and I mean, seriously, you can look out and you can see the back of your head. It's that flat. It's just
yeah.
So anyway, we've got our friends showing up today. So we've got, of course, the amazing Dustin. What happened to my comments? They're so small. There's Dustin Stout, who's not a small person. He is amazing. Thank you, Dustin, for stopping by. We've got the amazing Ralph from the Content Creators Accountant here saying hello, friends. Zach Brown, the amazing Zach Brown, is tuning in. And our friend Amy Kay saying happy Friday. Happy Friday to you as well, Amy. So many cool people. Fujins is here. Doghouse Dog Media, happy Friday, y'all. And Jerry Potter is stopping by today. The amazing Jerry Potter. Got to hang out with him at a conference not too long ago, which is a lot of fun. But we are going to go ahead and get started before we get going too much, because I will just ramble on all day. Connor, you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine, and we will get started. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Connor Brown, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the creator economy and so much more.
Have you ever wondered how podcasters turn a simple conversation into steady business growth? Maybe you're curious about how a well-crafted show can bring in stronger leads without adding pressure to your already full schedule. Or maybe you've been thinking about launching a podcast but want to make sure it truly supports your business goals. If so, you are in the right place, because today we are joined by Katie Brinkley, a seasoned podcaster and social media strategist who's helped brands and solopreneurs grow with smarter, less is more approach. She'll be sharing the methods, her stories, and practical steps that can help you transform your show into a powerful business tool. So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind to get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live. Katie, thank you so much for being back on the show today.
And thank you for the invitation. And, you know, I've been a guest on this amazing show before with you guys. And every time you say your intro, Jeff, I love it. I'm Jeff C.
And you're not.
And you're not. And it makes me laugh every time. I need a fun intro like that, because it's a showstopper. It's a showstopper.
Well, now that you've said that, Katie, one of the things that we've been doing for this show is we've actually done AI intros now, and I'm going to go ahead and play that right now, and you can tell me what you think.
Katie Brinkley is here. Your podcast can pull leads near. Grow your business year by year. Katie Brinkley is here.
There you go. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. Can that be my new stage
You can
entrance? 'Cause I
have
know
it.
it a lot. I mean, I love that. That was so on brand for me. But well done, sir. How
Well,
cool is AI?
So just we've been nerding out about it, and the cool thing is like I've always, even since I was a kid, you want to, you played with like having your own show. I mean, you were a broadcaster. You know how it is. Like you started young and thinking about having those jingles that you hear and the cool stuff they were able to do on SNL and stuff. And now we can do that. Like it's in my work. It takes me 15 minutes now to make these intros for our guests, and it keeps getting better and better. It's amazing.
AI, I mean, a lot of people still poo-poo on it, but I mean, man, how cool is it?
It's just a
How
fun
cool
tool.
is AI?
It's just a fun tool. Yeah. So
It's so cool. It is
Yeah.
so cool. And yeah, Katie, you just have to walk around with a boombox now. I know that's old school, and now this is AI new school, but maybe we can get on a cassette for you, and then you'll just have that theme song wherever you go. If you didn't catch everything that was said in the theme song, I'll do a little bit more of an intro for Katie. If you don't know who Katie Brinkley is, you should. She's a speaker, strategist, author, and podcaster. She's also the founder and CEO of Next Step Social and Podcasting Marketing Agency. She's transforming social media marketing with her less is more 4-post strategy. With 2 decades of experience, Katie's unique methods helps clients achieve more growth while posting less. Leveraging platform agnostic storytelling, Katie tailors tactics to each brand's goals, driving measurable results efficiently. Again, welcome back to the show, Katie.
I need to shorten up that intro, eh?
But I mean,
we got it all. There's so
people
much to
forget-
talk about.
people forget that she's also an author. Like that was on. I think you were on the show last time. Because your book just came out, so she knows what she's talking about on all sorts of stuff. So before we get into it anymore, I just wanted to let you know that she is amazing. You guys need to follow her everywhere. But let's just jump right into it because we're talking about podcasting for business today. A lot of people start, and they have these big dreams like I'm going to go and start a show and I'll get sponsored and Spotify's going to pick me up and now Netflix and all this stuff. So we want to take this in a way that, yes, it's great for business. Like it has changed the way I do business. It's grown my business, but it's not this, kind of get rich quick kind of thing that a lot of times a lot of new podcasters come into it. So I want to be very realistic, but also how much of a great opportunity is. It's still, I think, the ground floor. There's a lot of podcasts, but there are not a lot of podcasters that are consistent. So we're going to talk about that today. So we're just going to jump right into it and talk about it. But first, I want to do a shout out to our sponsors, Ecamm. You can find out more about them by going to ecamm.com/Jeff. They are what allow me to do this amazing podcast, this video podcast, which we are able to repurpose and go across all the different socials. And we're going to talk about that today for sure. But make sure you guys go check them out, ecamm.com/Jeff. But this first section, we're going to be talking about podcasting for leads. And you and your book and your entire social strategy, Katie, talk about this less is more approach. So how does somebody apply that when they want to use podcasting specifically to attract those better leads?
Yeah, and I again, thank you so much, guys, for having me back on the show. This is one of my favorite shows, and you do such a wonderful job producing it. So thanks for having me back on. And I think that one of the biggest things that so many people think about when they have a podcast is, well, how can I monetize it? And honestly, that's the wrong way to go into the show as to like, how can I get sponsors? And it's kind of like, how I'm going to be on social media so that I can go viral. That it's very similar. That's kind of the same kind of thinking. And when I say less is more, I'm talking about intention over volume. So with podcasting, people think that they need to be everywhere to publish, all the, a daily show. But honestly, better leads come from clarity. So a focused show with a tight message and one clear takeaway is going to outperform 50 random episodes. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and interview so-and-so because I think they're cool. Knowing exactly what the purpose is for your show, what you want the listener to walk away with. When you simplify your content, you're actually going to be amplifying your authority.
Very,
I
very
think
cool.
that's great. I think so often though people are like, "Oh, I should start a podcast," and they don't really know what their why is or what they're going to start talking about or what the end goal is for all of it. Sometimes a podcast can just be, "Oh, I'm just going to talk," and that's a hobby, right? That's a hobby
Yeah.
podcast. But if you want to have
Yeah.
a podcast for your business to get leads, to grow your brand, what have you, you do really have to focus on your why, and you have to get really clear about that. So Katie, when someone is starting a show, they're just developing it, they're looking at what they're going to talk about, how do they get clear about their why for the show? And then how can that translate into getting clients through the show as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you know your why, that everything sharpens. Everything comes into clarity. If your why is, I want to sign 3 new clients a month, your episodes are going to get tighter, your guests are going to be more strategic, and your call to actions are going to be clearer. If your why is muddy, like you said, like, oh, I'm just going to hit record and get a microphone and put it out there, you're not going to see any results. But if you say, okay, well, I'm going to have guests on the show that are my ideal clients so that I can have a longer conversation with them. Okay, that's a very clear why. If your goal is to have thought leadership, so I launched Marketing Trends Now, another podcast, so I have 2. And this one's just 10-minute episodes of me talking. They're 100% thought leadership podcast episodes. And honestly, I'm using it to help write my next book. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to talk. I want to talk about my next book. So I'll just record a podcast on it because I'm really good at talking and it takes me a lot longer to type things out than it is for me to just say things that are on my mind. So if you know what your why is, your listeners are either going to lean in or they're going to, self-select themselves out. So, and I think honestly, both of those are wins.
So I'm really interested, and I usually ask this at the beginning, but we'll go ahead and do it now. But for the audience, like, what's the number one reason you'd want to start a podcast if you haven't started one right now? Is it more clients? Is it more authority? Is it more visibility? I would love to know. Share wherever you're watching from, share it in the comments below. And I'd love to find out what you guys, if you are thinking about doing a podcast, what are you wanting it to do for your business? Because I want to, a lot of people have done podcasts or they start one. Pod fade is a thing that a lot of podcasters talk about, that I think it's 7 episodes and then people kind of fade away. So let's say you're doing it for a while. We got a lot of people in the audience that I've seen that I know who are doing a podcast. But after a while, they think it's not working or it just isn't getting the numbers or the results that they want. What's usually broken when you go and consult with a client, what's usually broken first? Is it the format? Is it the messaging? Or is it like the call to action? They're not actually doing a call to action at the end. What's the biggest thing you see that people are struggling with when they've had a podcast and have gone past maybe that 7 episode mark?
Yeah, and I'm actually teaching podcasting at a middle school now. So I'm teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on how to launch a podcast. It is so fun. But part of what we're doing is we've only recorded the trailer episode and the intro for their episodes, and then we've been working on the outline for the other 8 episodes. And I want them to get really clear about what they want to talk about because of that exact reason right there, Jeff. Pod fade is very real. And if they can make it past that 7 episodes, because they've already planned for 8, they're going to have a lot more success. And I think that the biggest misconception about having a podcast is that it's a visibility tool. And stick with me here because it's actually a trust tool. Think about it. Like if you're in the car with some people right now, we have 100% of their attention. If you're driving, it's one of the best ways to build out your know, like, and trust factor, especially in a world of AI. I mean, how cool was that intro you did? They were singing, I was dancing, but Sora 2, holy cow.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's insane. Like, even video you can't really trust. However, you can tell when we talk over each other, when I stumble on my words, my hands are going a mile a minute here. I mean, you can tell that
Right.
that we're building trust right now. And for most businesses, downloads are not going to pay the bills, right? The conversations do. And we recently had a client sign on with us who's listened to Rocky Mountain Marketing for 4 years
Wow.
before he signed up to be a client. But he knew all about the 4-post strategy. He knew all the different conversations I've had. He was in alignment. He was the perfect client. Like, it was the easiest closing I've ever done, because he was like, all right, I'm ready to work with you. What's the next steps to it? How do we get the social media going, the podcast started? I already know I've been doing the 4-post strategy, and like, he was ready to go. So when you have the podcast that's being built as that trust tool, and you're not chasing the virality, you're saying, what does my ideal client need to hear to take the next step from me? Podcasting it's honestly one of the fastest ways that you're going to be able to shorten that trust timeline, but only if you treat it as a business asset, right? Not as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the biggest things, is that people don't go in with their podcast and say, okay, this is who I'm talking to. This is, why I have the show. It's for thought leadership. It's for, networking. It's for leads, whatever it is. Like, think about your podcast different than, the Bachelorette podcast that my best friend listens to. She listens to about 3 of them.
Right.
That's a very different end goal than a business owner going in and launching a podcast. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's the messaging that's broken, or the CTA, not the format. So,
Very good.
Jeff,
yeah.
I have a follow up with that too, because I know we're talking all about this, and I think Jay Klaus has talked about this a lot recently too, about how the podcast is now kind of at the bottom of his funnel, right? Like, he has all this other content that he's acquiring people through, but like Katie, you were saying, people start to listen to the podcast towards the bottom of the funnel. They start to understand who you are, and then they're easier to make the sale or whatever you want them to do. Linda Dolan in the comments, she says she wants to start a podcast to get larger reach, to help more people. And I think that that's what a lot of people want to start with, but I think it's harder now than ever before to grow your podcast like that, to acquire new people cold, because you have to convince them to part with time, which is an incredible asset, right? So how do you, knowing that, how do you put your podcast and say, this has been a success? What are the metrics that you're looking at now as you're doing your podcast episodes?
Yeah, and I think with what you're saying, Connor, people expect podcasting to work like Reels, right?
Yeah.
Fast. And podcasting is actually a compounding asset, right? I always say, give it, 6 months of consistent strategic episodes, not just random publishing. And if you're going to treat your podcast like part of the sales process, you're going to see a lot quicker results than just podcasting, for to get the message out there. I mean, if you're creating, like my COO and co-owner Sean, we just did a podcast. We were doing a series on Rocky Mountain Marketing, where we're talking about the behind the scenes of how our company runs. And the main purpose for this is to repurpose all of it into marketing materials as part of the sales process. So, hey, it was great speaking with you today. If you like this, you check out Sean. Here's an episode about how we run our project dashboard. So we're using it as part of the sales funnel. And so I think I kind of derailed a little bit there, Connor, but thinking about it in the long game of like, okay, what's the purpose behind this episode? Who is it for? And why am I spending my time on it? How am I going to use this? Because you could still go back and, like, Jeff, so you've been on Rocky Mountain Marketing a number of times talking about, different tools. And then you came on and talked about AI. And I mean, all of those are still really good episodes that you could then go back and be like, hey, actually, I was on Rocky Mountain Marketing talking all about my course. I can go ahead and send some people that episode where we go into detail on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another marketing asset for me and for you.
Yeah. The thing about podcasts, especially video podcasts, we've talked about this in the past, is so much of the content is repurposable. Like so we're trying to we've been experimenting with putting out a short form piece of content almost every day. And it's all from this show. And we have enough content to do that with. Like, you think like, oh gosh, that's a lot. But really, if you get the processes down and the systems down where you can just, you do a show, and then, because I have such great guests like Katie, they drop all these bombs, these knowledge bombs that I can pull out and post. And you become, even if it's not you, giving all the knowledge, you become a thought leadership because it's your show. You're asking the questions. You're on screen. Because I don't know anything. This is all just like me asking questions. So it's really great. We've got some great comments I wanted to pull up from our amazing audience. Generator Podcast says, I use my podcast to educate my clients and other photographers, market my business, sell digital goods, and build community. And still, growth is difficult. It's a long-term process. So very, very true. Everything with podcasting is I think Katie mentioned a snowball or a long kind of thing. So a lot of people want this. And Ralph is saying, like, treat it as a business. Billy Thorpe says, I want to be like Joe Rogan. Oh, boy. Dave Jackson always says, oh, Joe Rogan. Everybody wants a long-form podcast. Sean says, podcasts are the middle and bottom of the funnel tools, which is very, very true. And then Linda chimed back in saying, it's a business first, and the podcast can show the heart and soul of that. I love that, Linda. Showing the heart and soul of your business, especially with the rise of AI. I think that's really, really important. And so, and then our friend Chris Stone from Casthead says, clarity on purpose and serving your community can keep podcasters from being boring. Never be boring. And so many people, like Sean says, we just did episode 45. People are wanting larger reach. Amy's saying authority. She wants new clients. It would be great, of course. Yeah. So many different reasons. But this last question before we move on to the next kind of section, what do you think business owners misunderstand most about the timeline of using a podcast for lead generation? Like, they were saying, hey, I've been doing this podcast for a month, and it's been crickets. Like, what do you tell people about that? Like the actual time from starting a podcast to actually seeing something that impacts your business?
Yeah, and I think that, we did just launch a podcast for one of our clients, and she has, I think, 5 episodes out, and she just reached 500 downloads, which is awesome. But I want to say that that's really not, the norm, because you launch a show and you have to make sure that you're marketing it, that you're telling people about it. If you launch it and then just say, like, all right, Apple Podcasts, help me out.
Right.
They're not going to do that. So, I mean, you have to make sure that you have a strategy behind telling people that your show exists and why they should listen, why they should trust you with their most precious asset, which is time, And so marketing your podcast, I think, is one of the most important things if you want to have a successful show. So I think if you are looking for more downloads, or if you want to just network with people, or if you want to have more leads, or know the why behind your show before you hit publish. If it's for me, Marketing Trends Now, it is 100% to help me with my thought leadership and crafting my next book. That's why I have the show. So I'm always staying up to date on what's going on marketing, digital marketing. So how can I give this back and really process it? It's by me having a podcast. How can I grow my network? It's by having Rocky Mountain Marketing. I go on there and I network with all the guests. The main goal is to have these great conversations with people that I respect in the industry and learn from them and bring that to my audience. So knowing the why is going to help tremendously for the longevity of your show. And I think that, like what Sean said, the beginning and the end of the funnel, like, people come to you because you're bringing them great content. And then how can you continue repurposing that content out to close the deal? And it's by having that strategy in place.
Very well said.
Yeah, seriously. And I think, you hit on something that is an easy transition where we can move into this next section talking about turning your podcast into social and a content system, right? Because Katie, you said it perfectly. It's all about the marketing, really. Like
Mhm.
the grand scheme of thing, once you kind of get that muscle memory of how to record, that's the easy part, right? Like if you're an
Mhm.
expert on the topic that you're talking about, then speaking about it should come relatively natural. It's about getting the word out there. And I always say podcasters who first start often get sucked in by the field of dreams syndrome. If you build it, they will come. No, they won't
Yeah.
listen. You have to put it out there and market it. And so much of that is letting people know about the most recent episode that you've got. So, Katie, you're
Mhm.
known for your 4-post strategy when it comes to social media. How can podcasters use that structure to promote each episode weekly? And I think the biggest thing is without burning out.
Yeah, and I think that it's one of the hardest parts of being a podcaster is we spend the time creating the show, right?
Yeah.
And then being asked to then talk about it. It's like, oh, I just
Right.
got done creating it and editing it, and now I have to go and create a bunch of content about it, and it feels very overwhelming. And it's kind of like, okay, well, Opus Clips, here you go. Now go ahead and throw it out there. Done. Check. But um, I mean, I've said this before, but I've never gone to Instagram to listen to a podcast,
Mhm.
Right.
right? And so how can you get the right people from social media they opened up their social media of choice, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, they opened that up to be entertained and to kill time,
Right.
not
Right.
to listen to a podcast. And so the 4-post strategy works phenomenally if you have a podcast, because you even if you only do one podcast episode a month, if you're doing the 4-post strategy, you can still create, if you wanted to, you could do 4 posts a day in this strategy, but I recommend 4 a week, because then you're not, burning out and you're giving people exactly what they want. So for those that aren't familiar with the 4-post strategy, it's the awareness to action strategy. So making people problem aware. Then the next post is an elaboration. The third post is a community. And the fourth post is an action. So asking people to leave social media to go listen to your podcast. Do you want me to explain the 4-post
Yeah.
strategy
Yeah.
again? Or
Yeah. 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 That's
okay.
great.
Yeah.
So the first post, the awareness post, that's again making people problem aware. So what do you talk about on the episode? So, for example, if you wanted to do it for this episode today on how to use podcasting, how to use a podcast as a business tool, not a hobby. And the awareness post is very easy. It's just making a bold statement or a unpopular opinion or sharing a statistic. Like you could share the average podcast lasts only 7 episodes. How long have you been podcasting? And it starts a conversation, because the people that have a podcast are going to start engaging with the post. The people that don't have a podcast will say, "No, I don't have one. I don't know what to say." It's just going to
Mhm.
get the ball rolling, and it's going to get your content pushed out in the algorithm in front of the right people. The right people are commenting on it. So then the next post, the algorithm will then show to them. So the elaboration post is your thought leadership article or post, taking like the 4 takeaways that we talk about in today's episode, putting them into long written form, because everything is what we're saying here. You can transcribe and say, okay, well, did you know that most podcasters only make it to episode 7? One of the most common reasons is because of burnout and not monetizing. But
Mhm.
what if you went in with a different strategy? What if you went in and blah blah blah, and take 3 things that we talk about from today's episode and put it into a newsletter or a long Facebook caption, or you could even, like on Instagram, make it a carousel post. The third post is then the community post, which is the storytelling post. So how have you overcome this, or helped a client overcome this, or, the guests that you have on your show, how have they solved this or come up with this idea? So it's a storytelling post that's really going to bring people in and connect with you. So now, so far, we've made people problem aware. We've shown them that we are an expert that they can trust. We've said our story and said, hey, here's how we get results. And then the last post is the action post and asking people to leave social media to go one step further with you. And the right people will have seen your content up until this point because of the algorithm, and they've been engaging in it, liking it, spending time reading your article or you're reading your caption. And then by the time you get to the, hey, will you leave social media with me? The right people are going to go ahead, click download, ask for the link, whatever. And you actually are going to get more downloads that way because you've had the right people seeing your message instead of just saying, okay, hopefully the right person sees this.
Right. So I love it because you can have a mindset shift where it's.
I had one of those the other day. Actually.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Bad.
I had another vowel movement. That's what's live video, folks. The funny thing, a mindset shift about how you go into it, not to go viral, but to actually, what you said was to take people with you off social media, which I think most business people don't think about. That you're actually doing an ask, like at the end of your 4-post strategy, to come with me to go to my call to action, or, go in and sign up for this course or this freebie or whatever. But I think that's super important that we don't talk or think about enough, is going, hey, we're asking you to come off of social where you are and you're comfortable and you're flicking through stuff. So I think that is a really key thing. This is a great comment I wanted to bring up by Brigham. He says he's been doing a podcast for over 2 years, and only about 3 months ago started really getting good. The wrong one. There we go. Getting good traction. What ways have you found to build better attraction? Me, it has been brand building, collaboration, and content creation because I love it. And that kind of leads into the next question, Katie, which is, when you're repurposing these podcast episodes into social content,